Welcome everybody to another episode of Iowa State Cyclones live here on the Voice of College Football Network. I'm your host Levi Stevenson. As you can see down there on my my name tag thing here, is that I'm now with CF After Dark. Most of you watching this are probably already plenty aware of this, but for anybody that does not follow me on any of the other things that I do, um, we took the entire crew from Wide Ride Natty Light and we moved it over there to Cycle. That was unprompted. Over to Cyclone Fanatic, and we have our own bit now called CF After Dark. It's basically the exact same thing. Um, is basically the exact same thing as what we had with Wide Right Natty Light, but for a different boss, a better boss. And it's been awesome so far. I've done a couple big streams for that so far, and it's been really cool. So today we're going to be doing a little bit of scouting and kind of going over the offensive side of Iowa State's commits so far. Mostly transfer portal stuff, but I do also want to touch on. So we're going to touch on the quarterback position. We're obviously going to look at Jalen Rayner. We'll look at we'll look at Tyler Fortenberry, his brother Trevor, and all that. Kind of see what's going on. Cody Jackson from Tarleton State, a slew of offensive linemen. And then I do also want to talk about the quarterback commit for the class. He's a really nice player, and I think, I there's a lot to build on here as far as God, we just got another commit from Michigan State offensive lineman Gavin Brocious too. I want to talk about the quarterback, the freshman quarterback from the class, the 2026 class. Because he's a really, really nice player. We're gonna go through some film of his too. I just am very, very encouraged so far by what we're seeing out of this class. Hudson Curland is his name. He's from Lake Oswego, Oregon, who's produced a number of professional athletes at different levels and in different sports. Pretty big high school over there, and I want to go through some film of his because I put a very small, just kind of a short and sweet scouting report in the Discord the other day, but I want to go over and really show you kind of what I'm seeing with him because I think he's a really, really interesting prospect that is worth taking another look at here. So we will also go over Hudson Curland. Probably we'll take care of the transfers first, and then we'll take a look at Hudson towards the end. As always, full Q&A through the entire thing. If you guys got questions, we can go through all this. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you guys got about any of these prospects, about any of the guys we should be can be expecting to see, any new commitments, all that, any other broader questions about Iowa State football or even basketball, about me, whatever it is. More than happy to answer your guys' questions though. So obviously let's just kind of start off with, I think maybe call it we'll just call it like kind of the headline of the offensive part of the offensive, side of the ball, basically. Because I would say right now, the biggest haul so far, well, one is the offensive line is probably the biggest standout. But as far as kind of the biggest names, I think so far have been on the defensive side of the ball. It just, as far as real big impact players, to day one and going forward too. But the big name on here is obviously Jalen Rayner, who is coming in as a grad transfer from Arkansas State. We've played him 2 years, and we played him 2 years in a row now, and we saw that while he isn't perfect, he can be a little turnover prone at times. He is undoubtedly first and foremost, he's a tough kid. That kid takes hits. He's a running quarterback that's played like 40 something consecutive games. He's been extremely productive in his career. He's a dual threat guy, a very legit dual threat guy that is, if he gets out of the pocket and can run, he's scary. He can do a lot of damage with his legs. Throws a nice deep ball with good touch. We've seen him play, so we don't need to go through like a ton of film, but I do want to pull up some things, especially from the Xbox Bowl that they just played in their bowl game as well. A couple of early questions. Saturdays into the portal. Has your outlook for 2026 changed? This is a great question because I don't know if I don't know if I had set expectations yet, or like had an outlook necessarily. I was opted based on the coaching hires alone. I felt that Jimmy Rogers gave Iowa State a chance to be competitive right away. I think they got off on the right foot with their coaching hires and all that. Um, and with the various Cyclones that they were able to keep around, Jace Gilbert, Trey Verdon, those kind of and Zamir Hawk, those types of guys, keep them in the building. Based on all that early movement, I felt like they were off to a really good start. But I I was curious as to how much they would be building for, to potentially try to win next year versus um, trying to win next year versus trying to build for like, a couple years down the road when you can really get this roster where you want it to be. Um, I think honestly, more than anything else, I think the name that really tells me that they are trying to not just build for 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, even though they've got a lot of guys in this transfer class that do, fall into that category where they've got, 2, 3, even 4 years of eligibility remaining. But the guy that, I mean, Jalen Rayner is the perfect example. You have Connor Mobley in the room, and I assume he will still get a shot um at earning the starting job. He'll have a shot at competing for it for sure. But you're bringing in a veteran quarterback that's played a lot of snaps. He's played a ton of games. Very productive, a guy that absolutely can start. So you could, if you were just building for 2027, let's say you're saying 2026 is just our turnover year. This is where we're going to try. We might take some lumps, but we're going to build for going forward. Um, you can throw Connor Moberly out, good or bad, and see what he does. If he's great, he's great. If he takes some lumps, that's fine. You're building for the next year anyways. You bring in Jalen Rayner because you're trying to win next year. You're trying to make sure that this thing doesn't lose any momentum. And I honestly think that's probably not a bad idea. I think if you're a fan like we all are, you should absolutely still be going into this as 2026 has no expectations. They have basically an entirely new roster. We have to just see what they can do. Like that's how you as a fan should still approach 2026, no matter what the transfer class looks like, even though it looks very good right now. Um, no matter what, you should go in with little to no expectation and saying no, like we understand this is it not, this isn't the FCS. This isn't even whatever you want to call the Pac-12, which I believe is just a fully a G5 conference now. This isn't a group of five conference. This is the Big 12, it's a Power 5 conference or Power 4 conference. And this is, overturning an entire roster is hard to do. And it's hard to stay competitive when you're doing that. Now, they've gotten a lot of good players, but we still need to go in with the expectation that it might take a year just to get everything fully turned over and to get the system fully implemented and get the culture set right. So, but what they're doing is very clearly attempting to maintain some level of success going into next year. Now, is it a bowl game? Are you just shooting for a bowl game? I mean, I think a bowl game is a reasonable goal to shoot for. Given what we've seen so far, given the schedule for next year, which you're avoiding like Texas Tech and stuff like, you're avoiding a couple good teams with next year's schedule. But you know, I think I think a bowl game is a realistic thing to shoot for. We'll have a better idea if that's realistic after a few games in, at least. Once you get to conference play, and we'll see what the record looks like and how they've played. We'll have a better idea of what the realistic goal looks like as bowl game. But in the end, 2026 is going to be measured by how they're playing in November and maybe December, versus how they're October and November, versus how they're playing in August and September. That this is a team that's going to take some time to gel together. It's going to take all that, but they're trying to win now. That's why you bring in Jalen Rayner. As far as just veteran quarterbacks go, he's going to be, he was one of the better options I would say was going to be able to have. I mean, they were never going to get a Sam Levitt or something like or a Brennan Sorsby or whatever. They were never going to get any of those guys. And that's okay. They don't need to drop $4 million on a quarterback for no fucking reason. There's no reason to do that. You're better off to build from the inside out, which is what they've done so far. You're better off to do that and and go from there. Yeah. So a couple things that one thing you will notice in here in this stream, is that we don't have a running back currently, and I've already gotten I'm getting requests now already for to go over the Monmouth running back. So we'll go through over him at the end. Um, his name is Rodney Nelson. Yeah, we'll go over Rodney Nelson. He's a really exciting back. He's a really fun back. I hope we can get. I hope Iowa State's got a shot at him. I haven't heard if he's visiting campus or not, but I know that there do appear to be um some eyes on him at least. The people that track Twitter follows and all that. I know that we've got guys following him. Um, he's currently followed by Ricky Ciccone and Tyler Rule, and also our good buddy Jake Brent. So we'll see what his opportunities look like at some point. Hopefully, obviously, it's got a shot at him because I think he's a really interesting talent. But we will definitely take a look at him uh, a little bit later. So let's take a look at Jalen Raynor. Obviously, like I said, we've played against Jalen Raynor. Iowa State has played against Jalen Raynor in the past, but I just want to pull up some stuff from the Xbox Bowl here because they had a really nice game. Obviously, we're only a few in here, and Arkansas State's only just past halftime, and Arkansas State's up 24-7. We can go to some earlier ones where it was some easier throws. Um, so like this one here is a throw that is in every single offense ever. It's a throw you got to make 100 times out of 100. This is a throw that Rocco had a tendency to underthrow. So right here, he's got his guy up in the slot. He's got a 2x1 set here with his tight end Tyler Fortenberry right there off to the side, which he's now an Iowa State commit as well. And you got a simple here. You got a bubble route over here, and then you've got his number one wide receiver coming on an angle route to the or you got sorry actually I I read that wrong because I should have watched the play before. So you've actually got him starting as a bubble, and you've got his guy coming in on a skinny post here, and then that slot guy is going to come out on a wheel. It's actually kind of a fun little route. Um, but just lob it, nice touch right over the top, bang. It's a good throw. It's good anticipation. He did a nice job sitting in the pocket. There's a couple other ones here as well that he did a really nice job of just sitting in the pocket and taking the hit. Um, he's not like your classic um mobile, the guy that just like immediately as soon as anything goes wrong, you just tucks it and goes. He's not that kind of guy. He will stand in the pocket and deliver a ball, which in a pro style offense is what you need to see. Um, so let's take a look at here. He's obviously bringing his tight ends in motion. Nice little RPO action there. Is obviously his receiver's wide open, but just does a good job reading that whole thing right there. And he's right there. Bang, good ball right on him. It's a nice, easy timing route. It's not a really like high difficulty throw, but it's right on time. It's right where it needs to be. You can't really complain about those two. When you're a quarterback, especially in a pro style offense, sometimes it is literally just about being able to make the throws that are in front of you, taking what the defense gives you, making those easy throws. So what I want to look at here. So he's going to have his receiver on this backside post again, on the weak side post. But watch it. What I want to show you here, though, is watch his arm angle. So now he does have he is typically a little bit more over the top, but if he thinks he needs to, he will drop down and give you a 3/4 inch arm slot there. So he has enough arm talent to be able to move some stuff around. I wish we could get. There's a couple of receivers that Arkansas State had. Like if he had still had eligibility left, I would love to have Corey Rucker. Want to check here. Is this a? It's like I think that's a rushing touchdown. I think this is a Missouri State play here. Yeah. So wait, what's this? Oh, big sack. So basically, like you said, there's not a lot of film we're gonna go through with Raynard just because we've seen him play. Uh, he can be interception prone at times, but he is a veteran quarterback that I think in the right system is going to be able to do a little bit better taking care of the football. And what's worth noting is that at Arkansas State, he was asked to be a Superman. He was asked to carry the entire offense. Obviously he had Corey Rucker there, who's a very very good receiver, and we would if we could get him, we'd be lucky to have him. But you know, for the most part, he was asked to carry that offense on his back, essentially. Uh, we got to see what other pieces they can get around him. But this offense is going to be built around a power running game. This isn't going to be built off of just Jalen Raynor throwing the ball or Jalen Raynor running the ball like it was at Arkansas State. He's going to have less pressure on his shoulders, and I think that will give him an opportunity. I think that will give him an opportunity to be a little bit more efficient and take care of the ball a little bit better as well. So and I think this is a fair concern. Going to be interesting to see how Raynor handles playing under center. Maybe he'll add a lot of more traditional pro style. I think, to be honest, I think the transition to playing under center is maybe a touch overblown. Obviously most quarterbacks now practice out of the shotgun and all that. Yeah. It's not hard to teach. It's not hard to teach a quarterback how to play under center. There's some footwork stuff to look at to take a look at, but you know, a lot of times these guys have played some under center at some point in their life. It's not like it's a foreign concept to them. Most of them can figure it out pretty quick. Like at Iowa State, Brock Purdy took maybe 6 snaps total under center, and now he plays in the 49ers offense, and they go under center all the time. So like it's not I don't think the transition to playing under center is nearly as big as as other play style changes and stuff like that. Like it's the most noticeable one because the quarterback's the one getting the ball first every play, and obviously he's lining up in a different spot. But it's not as big a change as it is for, like, let's say a running back switching from a zone blocking scheme to an assignment blocking scheme. Where if you're playing for Iowa, which uses zone run blocking, they basically each lineman has an area to go, and then that creates your holes there. And then there's other run blocking schemes where you have specific guys that you're going after. The transition between blocking schemes as a running back can be a bigger transition than a quarterback going from mostly or all shotgun to some hybrid of shotgun and under center. So I'm not particularly worried about Jalen Raynor being able to play from under center. It's a minor concern of me, but I think he'll be fine, and not being asked to be the superhero guy that can win a game by himself. Basically, he's not going to be asked to do that. So I think that's going to be a nice thing.